Hello and welcome back to Tveiting Patiently, the appreciation podcast that highlights, dives deeper, and celebrates the work and accomplishments of our national treasure, Aaron Tveit. I'm your host, Elizabeth, and this week we are switching gears from TV to film and talking about two independent films that Aaron was able to be a part of between the years 2016 and 2017. The two indie films that are the topic this week could not be more different. In 2016, Aaron starred as Charlie in Better Off Single, and in 2017, he starred as Tommy Riley in Created Equal. Now, if I'm being honest, of the two films, I prefer Created Equal. I just enjoyed the storyline more and prefer the character of Tommy Riley over the character of Charlie. But again, that's just me. Better Off Single is unique in its own way. It's a rom-com, but almost in reverse. Most rom-coms start with a man or woman looking for love, meeting in a cute way, falling in love with each other, having something pull them apart, and then ultimately ending up back together in the end. Better Off Single does the opposite. It starts with Charlie post-breakup and flashes back and forth from present time of him dealing with the aftermath of his breakup, trying to make sense of himself, to the past when he's in the relationship and what his life was like then. Aaron plays Charlie, who's a total party boy. He spends a lot of time in his head. And as a viewer, we get insight to Charlie's thoughts as he's in his relationship, at his job, with his friends and dealing with their own relationship troubles, and then him with his therapist post-breakup. Throughout the movie, there are so many random moments as Charlie works through finding himself post-breakup. Some of the random moments include a sex montage, a divorce's final party, speed dating conversations, and Charlie dressed as a pregnant nun at a Halloween party. I mean, if you're gonna watch the movie, watch for that pregnant nun scene. It'll leave an impression. In an interview with Show People, Aaron gives a summary of his character Charlie.
And so in this Better Off Single thing, you play like a guy who...
Yeah, it's a guy who is totally in his head about a previous relationship and can't get out of his own head. And the movie kind of drops in and out of these fantastical scenes that play out in his head and then right back into reality. And that's something that I think they succeeded really well in. Is I was worried that because it lifts and goes back that the tone would be uneven, but it's really, really greatly done. But yeah, it's about this guy trying to get over this girl that he can't get over, and then finally kind of coming to terms with who he is without her. You know, but what's interesting is so many times we see, you know, those kind of romantic comedies told from a female perspective. So to kind of look at it from a male's perspective.
In opposition of the traditional rom-com, Charlie doesn't end up with the girl. He ends the movie single, hence the title, having a better idea of who he is and having fun in his single life. But now, switching gears from single party boy Charlie to womanizing Southern lawyer Tommy Riley. Created Equal tells the story of how Aaron plays a lawyer who represents a nun that wants to sue the Catholic Church for not allowing her to become a priest. This storyline is very interesting and has some close ties to Aaron's personal life, as he was raised Catholic and his brother John is actually a Catholic priest himself. The young nun of the story, Alejandra Batista, seeks out Tommy Riley's law office because she believes she has a case of sex discrimination happening against her. She wants to become a Catholic priest, but is repeatedly told no because the Catholic Church does not allow women to become priests. Tommy has this reputation in his office of settling cases outside of court, and he has met his match with Alejandra. He is strong-willed, but so is she, and she refuses to settle and just go away quietly. She wants to go to trial and truly believes in her case. Once Tommy agrees to take this case, he faces a lot of backlash for agreeing to build a case against the Catholic Church, not only from his boss at the law practice, but from his own family and mom as well, who's a devout Catholic. I came across this quote from Aaron on this blog, This Functional, where Aaron says, "I'm always interested in people and characters who are complicated and where there's an ability for them to change. My character Tommy took on the case because of the challenge and to win. But then he becomes intrigued by Allie's conviction and begins to question his own faith, what faith means to him, his family, and himself. this film isn't just about religion. It's about these types of themes: gender equality, inclusion, and acceptance, and how they apply to our lives today. The Catholic Church in real life has come under fire before, so seeing a movie that targets issues within the church and portrays how the church attempts to handle said issues was interesting to watch. Tommy and Alejandra do not have an easy time building their case. Lots of threats, violence, needs for protection, but they do not back down. The theme of Created Equal is one of perseverance, and while Alejandra stood firm in her convictions and her beliefs throughout the movie, Tommy, on the other hand, spent most of the movie battling questions of whether or not he was really doing the right thing pursuing this case. Roles reverse, however, at the end of the movie when Alejandra is in the hospital after being shot in the back by a man who was a religious extremist. She tells Tommy that she doesn't know what she's fighting for and doesn't know if the fight is worth it anymore. That's when Tommy steps up and reassures her that they are doing the right thing. In the end, Alejandra is not granted permission to become a priest. It is acknowledged, however, in a court of law that the church was discriminating based on gender. She returns to the school where she worked as a nun, and Tommy, who has had a strained relationship with the church throughout his adult life, ends the movie by walking back into the church, seeing it in a different light. In an interview with Grazia magazine, Aaron talks about how his Catholic upbringing, the role it played in his family growing up, and his brother's path of becoming a priest now. He said that growing up, his dad sang in the church choir, and his brother was always very serious about the readings and prayers of church. He said, "At first glance, this looks very different. 2 brothers, one an actor, one a priest. But at the end of the day, not so much. We both stand on a stage in front of a group of people and lead them through whatever it is that they need to be led through." End quote. That comparison is so interesting to me, and also very much true. As someone who has seen Moulin Rouge multiple times, I can say that the show has been like a religious experience for me. It gives permission to feel all the feelings and emotions and develop your own perspectives and beliefs through the acting and the songs. The same can be said for churches with the prayers, songs, and sermons led by the priests and preachers. Aaron ended the Grazia interview by saying that there's something healing about both the church and theater. He said, quote, "People go to church and theater for similar reasons." End quote. While both Better Off Single and Created Equal are small, independent films, I'm grateful we have them, and that Aaron was able to have the time in his schedule to be a part of them. He has shared in interviews before that he is grateful for these independent film scripts for many reasons, including that they can be filmed in a shorter time frame than larger productions, and they've given him the opportunity to play roles that he otherwise may not have gotten the chance to play in larger films. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I know it was a little bit of a shorter one after coming off the 3 weeks of Graceland recaps, but I'm so thankful to each one of you that listen and share the podcast each week. We're moving right along with the various works of our national treasure, but if there's specific works or events or topics that you'd like to hear about related to Aaron, please send me a message on IG at tivating_patiently. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope to have you back here next week for episode 18.